Okay.
So we are streaming.
Okay, we are going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. First order of business is to announce the next meeting, which is Tuesday, December 5th. Is that correct? At 12?
Meeting
The business meeting.
is needed.
Okay, yes. And so if it's needed, we'll let everybody know. Next meeting for this commission is Tuesday, December 19th at 8:30. With that, would you, Belkis, please swear in the staff?
And that.
Okay. Call the roll. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. And next would be the board roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Whitman,
Here.
Mr. Leathersich,
Here.
Ms. Maniaci. Here. Mr. Slannon,
Here.
Ms. Barkley.
She is about to be here.
Okay. Mr. Beatty
Here.
and Ms. Riddler. Here. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay, the quorum is declared. Let's see, would you go ahead and read the, our,
Yes.
protocol, please?
Yes, so city staff, that's me, will present the staff report and application materials. And then we'll have the applicant approach the presenter table and be sworn in. And then they'll be asked to present their materials. And then any registered speakers will approach the podium and be sworn in and provided 3 minutes each to speak. And then commissioners will discuss the case and ask any questions of them.
Very good. With that, we have a couple of business items that we'd like to take care of this morning, and we'll just go ahead and start with that. So Jennifer, would you join us, please? Thank you for being here.
I promise to tell the truth, and I have all good news to share. On behalf of Director Mike Stevens and Planning Administrator Mark Dravilis, I'm Jennifer Fenning. I'm a Deputy Director in the Department of Development, and I am here to wish you a happy belated National Community Planning Month. We wanted to use the opportunity to celebrate your efforts and thank you for your time and your commitment to our city by being on this commission. A few quick stats. The members of this commission have served between 2 and 26 years for the city. This year alone, you have overseen at least 120 applications for certificates of approval and issued 86 of them. And this is so critical in how we are growing as a city. We are growing so fast. We are working to welcome so many more people to our city and helping to keep development moving in a thoughtful, planful way is just so important to the way we grow. Your work this year has had an impact of creating 95,000 square feet of commercial space and over 1,400 residential units, and that is an investment of nearly $24 million. So thank you so much for the work you do. Thank you for your commitment to our city and for your efforts. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you, Dr.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Next, we have, I believe, Josh Monroe to join us from the City Attorney's Office.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Josh Monroe. I doubt any of you have met me. I believe you met City Attorney Beth Harding a couple meetings ago. Due to some personnel changes in our office, she is no longer your assigned representative attorney from the City Attorney's Office. Is now me, so it is a pleasure to meet everybody for the first time. One of the things that we're doing with not only the Downtown Commission, but with every board and commission within the city is that we are going around and administering an oath of office. Some of you may have never taken one before. Some of you, it probably has been a while, depending on how long you've served for the city. So I am here to administer that oath of office. I believe that Ms. Schoenhall has provided you a copy of the oath of office. So I will administer it. I am a notary. I will notarize it. What will happen is that the notarized copy will then be filed with the city clerk's office. And then you guys will have officially taken your oath of office, an updated oath of office. So if you have that in front of you, it should be 2 pages. The first page is the actual oath. And I do apologize. I've administered it to a couple of boards and commissions. It is very long, so this will take a little bit of time. But I've hopefully gotten it down to a science. The second page is the City Boards and Commissions Pledge of Ethical Conduct. You can detach that page and keep it for your own records.
It's two-sided.
Two-sided, okay, so that's completely fine. So you'll have a copy of it as well. Before I give you the oath, I'll have you do two things. So on the oath, there's two blanks on it. The first one, where it says I blank, if you could write your name in there, just print it. And then in the second blank, put the Downtown Commission.
Right, we didn't have enough pens.
I'm almost done. Thank you.
Yes, I do. I did mine in advance and had it notarized.
That's totally fine. I'll just have you do the oath with everybody. Oh, that's
I did not in advance, had it.
I'll just have you like partake in the oath then, and that's would be fine. So I'll have everyone, well, everyone's still working on it. That's completely fine. The first time I gave this oath, I said, I state your name, and everyone repeated, I state your name. So,
Why don't we go ahead, Josh?
okay, perfect. If everyone wants to raise their right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Ohio, and will obey the laws thereof, and will in all respects uphold and enforce
And
will in all respects
the provisions of the Charter and Code of the City of Columbus, and will honestly, faithfully, and impartially abide by all governing bylaws and rules and regulations in the discharge of my duties as a member of the Downtown Commission. In addition, I acknowledge and pledge to adhere to the highest standards of ethical conduct as outlined in the attached document titled City Boards and Commissions Pledge of Ethical Conduct, which details the city's ethics laws and policies. I understand that it is my responsibility to act with integrity, transparency, and accountability in all my actions and decisions, guided by the principles set forth in said document. Congratulations. What I will have you do is then sign and print your name, and then you can put member of Downtown Commission again. Do not fill out the sworn to me. That will be for me as notary.
Anybody need a pen? Bob, you got it? Good. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Okay, are we,
minutes.
oh yes, the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, please?
Second.
There is a motion to approve, the second, so the motion is on the floor. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. That takes care of the minutes. I think we're ready for the first case. Is that correct?
Yes. Are we all ready? Okay. So this is for 61 East Mound Street. So 61 East Mound Street is home to Franklin Marine Academy. It was formerly used as a church and was built in 1924. The applicant was before the commission in May, where 4 wall signs and 1 ground sign were approved. Most recently, the applicant was before the commission in September, where an application for 2 additional ground signs for a total of 7 exterior signs was tabled. The commission generally felt that 7 signs is too many for the building and requested that the applicant return to the commission with compliance. They also noted that the sign should be neutral in color and as inconspicuous as possible to fit in the building. In response to commission's comments, the applicant has returned before the commission with the client seeking approval for the 2 ground signs proposed in September. Submitted materials include site plan, elevations, and material details. The improved graphics from May were included for reference. And so if we look at those, again, this is the site plan that we saw in September, noting the 2 ground signs. Here are elevations of those signs. There's the existing stone signs, and they just want to put a new color on it. And then I did include the materials from May, showing the certificate of appropriateness and then the stamped drawings, just so you all can get a refresher of what has already been approved. So in review, the downtown design guidelines recommend that buildings not be dominated by graphics, that historic or icon signs be preserved, and that signs be proportional to the building. Additionally, ground signs are supported where there are larger building setbacks and should be made of high-quality materials that complement the primary structure. In summary, this proposal is generally not consistent with the downtown design guidelines, and it's more so just the number of signs that's being proposed is why we went in that direction. Thank you.
Okay, very good. The applicants are in front of us here. Would you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Yes, Oliver Holtzberry.
Okay.
Todd Murgatroyd with Excel Schools.
Okay. Would you raise your right hands? You swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So say, I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, Todd, you're with,
Excel Schools.
okay, and you're
I'm with Day Night Sign Company.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, applicants.
Yeah. So obviously we're returning here. I think the last time we were here, the gist was this is going to make it. There's too many signs. You'd already allowed some in the past, and some of them were banners and things like that. But so we tried to come back with a bit of a plan to make things hopefully work for everyone. What we're proposing is to take down 2 of the banners that are there right now. It would be these blue ones that Belkis has up right now. There's 2 of those on each side of the entrance. We would be willing to take down 2 of those if we would be allowed these 2 new signs. I will say the 2 signs that are out there right now are existing signs from the church that was there. So they're not really going anywhere, and they just sit there right now because they're like a granite style sign. And the school, a lot of issues they've been having is this was like a homeless shelter before the school took it over. And so they're having a lot of issues with homelessness and, drug use and things like that around the school that have a lot of the parents concerned. And it's certainly hurting the school's ability to get new students. And so I think a big thing about having these signs as well is covering those church signs. So everyone kind of knows now that this is a new school. It's not the church. It's not a homeless shelter. We think that would address some of the issues they're having. So those are kind of my initial comments. Todd.
It's really hurting our enrollment because we still have a major homeless population down there because a lot of them still feel it's still the homeless shelter, which we have a lot of sympathy for. But we're a lot of families are saying, well, we would have enrolled there, but we thought it was still a church. We saw the signs out there. Our enrollment's at 30, and we feel replacing these signs, we could really move our enrollment up, and maybe maybe that will eliminate some of the homeless and safety concerns for our families.
Is one of the signs electronic?
Yeah, we do have an electronic digital board, yes.
Where is that? Which one?
It's like right,
Oh,
they
there.
could zoom in on it, it's right there.
So that's not one of these?
No,
It's approved in
that was,
refacing
Yeah.
and retweeting
Okay.
it.
Are the banners on either side of the
Yes,
front door, are those permanent then? Is that the idea on those or?
well, we,
Change
we,
those
we,
out or?
we really thought it looked good because, you know, as they come into the entrance of the building, there's a presence of the school, but they said we had to try to replace if we want to add, so we would remove both of those if we were allowed to put up the other two panels.
I guess where I am is, I think seven's too many, okay?
We're replacing two. We would,
So you'd end up with five, is that the idea?
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boy, when I counted, I think I come up with more
Where
than
would
five. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it sounds like to me.
Well, we're
You've got
proposing,
5 right now, and you're gonna add 2, is that correct?
yeah, and then we'd remove two,
We would
so,
remove two,
Okay, which ones go away then?
those two.
Banners.
yeah, it would be those,
Yeah, but you said you're gonna replace the banners with another banner. It just-
No, no,
yeah.
no, no.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you would consider keeping the banners and adding those two new ground signs, but eliminating the large signs over the main door on Mound.
And, yeah, Mountain, well, how about on the west or the east? side?
Well-
Too.
That, we get a lot of people that recognize that, those two signs above the door. You talking about that one? That's,
Not that one, but
Well-
that one there. Because I feel that this is the main entrance of what, it's a beautiful entry. And I think that two things, I think that it works against the aesthetics of the building, but I think that the two ground signs that you propose to add might be more beneficial to you for your identification purposes.
well,
So that's just my thought.
that was very costly to put that one sign up
Oh, it's
above.
already up.
Yeah.
I know we approved.
Yeah, it's already existing. It was up in, what was it, August, we installed those. So, that's not the main entrance the students go in. The students go in and the families go in down the alley there. There's a side door entrance, and that's the main entrance where the families go in at.
I've driven by this a couple of times since this came up,
Mhm.
and I can't imagine approving.
In fact, I think you came to our ice cream social we had.
I
Maybe.
don't think so.
Maybe it wasn't you, okay. I thought some gentleman came.
But I really can't imagine that we would put 7 signs on a building,
We're not putting 7.
but,
We'll have 5 total.
yeah, but my reaction to this is, I think it's okay. Because it's a major change of use. The signs are reversible, they're not, some carved in stone, so to speak. There is confusion, I think, based on the ground signs that still identify.
Correct.
Sure.
That's our problem right
And I
now, yes.
think with that part of downtown and the big parking lot there, you're trying to get people to find this place. I don't find it disturbing. I wouldn't want to suggest this as a precedent. All buildings should get 7 signs, 5 signs, 7 signs, whatever, but I kind of think it works here. If I were looking for this place, particularly for the first time, I'd be able to find it. And it's a little confusing otherwise. So I guess I'm okay with it. It seems like a stretch to have that many signs, but I think it's okay. I'm just giving my opinion. I think it's okay.
Okay, so where are we on the number there? 5 signs?
It would be
on the
5
west?
total,
So what you're talking about, we've approved 5 signs.
yeah,
So what we're doing is we're gonna swap out 2 for 2.
Correct,
yes.
correct. And that
I
would,
agree that there is confusion over the church sign there, if that stays.
yeah,
So,
What, I had one question. So you have on that corner, there is that electronic sign. And then you have 2 of the ground signs, which used to be the church, the stone signs. So how close is this one here, this new one you're proposing, to the electronic sign? Is it very close or is it,
There's that, and then there's that, and then there's one on the other side of
And
by
then
the parking structure, by the parking garage. Because what we're getting, we have no presence on the High Street side without putting that signage up. So people coming down High cannot see us because there's no signage on that whole side of the building. So our whole presence is, we feel, we're struggling with enrollment because 30 kids, we feel we could get more of a presence in the building if we swap those two out and add those two like we've suggested.
I guess I'm listening to what Bob said, and I think he's right. I really see that point. And I think the only suggestion I would have to think about would be maybe that stone sign there. It could just be moved, and then you keep everything.
We looked at it and it's so heavy.
It's so heavy.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you cannot move a stone that.
The stun sign is almost a semi-historic thing.
Well, no, I meant if you were covering it. I mean, if you were covering it with, because that's one of the stone sign right there is one of the signs that's going to get the new
Right.
covering.
Correct.
So maybe you, I don't know, I would say normally leave it because it is historic, but I would be concerned because you said there's confusion.
Oh, there's confusion with the homeless population coming there, coming up to families as they come into the door. And if you have a back to school event, you get 20 or 30 homeless, which I have a lot of sympathy for. But, a lot of the families are like, holy cow, there's a safety issue here with the homeless population. And we just feel
Yeah.
that would help
Any
out.
other comments or thoughts from the commission? Jennifer?
Sure. Yeah, I think, what was previously approved, the signs on the building is like, okay to stay. I do appreciate your compromise on like taking the banner signs down. Yeah, I mean, the building does have like a lot of signs, and I do sympathize with some of your challenges right now.
Yeah.
I think also, the form of the building, like it's clearly like a church structure, so it's not, I don't think, the signage obviously like won't erase problems, but I'm hoping that it helps. Belkis did point out, or I saw in the image, there is another sign like on the alley side. Was that considered as part of your?
This one right here?
Yeah, that.
So that's one of the ones we'd be covering and adding.
That's the one we would cover.
By the way, I would point out that those are, let's just say those are existing signs. So
Correct.
in this case, they're not creating a new sign.
Right.
They're kind of covering, and I think that's a situation too. And by the way, they are cast in stone, let us say. What it's worth. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, Otto? No, Tony?
I move approval of the revised application.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, the motion is on the floor. Questions, comments from anybody in the commission? Anybody in the audience have a question, comment?
Was a clarifying question.
Wait,
That motion was just for approval, correct?
Right.
Okay.
okay, and then, now just so to reiterate,
So then that could be, that needs to be a condition.
It's not what their application is.
No, their application is for 2 ground signs, and just in conversation, they mentioned now that they'd be willing to take down the 2 banners. So if that's a condition of approval that you'd like,
Yes.
it needs to be included in.
yes, it does. Is that, so the motion would provide that 2 banners, 2 signs come down, 2 can go up.
The two banners by the front door.
Yes.
Yeah,
And the new stone signs can be covered.
perfect.
There are 5. Oh, great, great. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope this works for me.
Well, I appreciate
We
it.
understand what you're dealing with.
Well, we appreciate your
By the way,
understanding.
we want this good activity downtown, in the downtown area. I think it's something we want to need, and that's everything to you folks.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chair.
Break.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you don't mind, Otto, we're just going to keep moving now, but help.
Okay. No, if I need-
You want us to wait? Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and you can read about the next step.
Okay, so this is for 475 North Wall Street, which will be the future location of a 31-story mixed-use merchant building, and was approved by the Downtown Commission in 2021. Changes to the tower roof access vestibule, green roof, and fireplace on level 9 were approved in 2022. The applicant is now seeking commission approval for updates to the north and southeast elevations. Given the sites located within the North Market Historic District, the Historic Resources Commission approved these updates on 11/16/2023. You guys can sit down, that's fine. And those updates include, so for the east elevation on Spruce Street, a taller height to accommodate a second level event space and balcony with a new sheltered egress stair, revised skylight monitors at the roof, introduction of 4 new exterior materials, which you'll see on page 6 of the application materials, detailed development at the plaza outdoor fireplace. And then on the southeast corner, which is wall and vine, we have a new residential entry materials and facade metal trim. And then also a taller corner condition with a garage and entry. And their submitted materials include a site plan, renderings, elevations, sections, floor plans, isometric views, and material details. And if we pop over to those, here we have that site plan. So you see in yellow, these are the affected elevations, and you can sort of see some of those, but what I want to point out is here. So this is the before condition, and then this is what's being proposed. So you'll see a change, sort of that sawtooth structure at the roof. You'll see this new event space here on the second level with the stair coming down. So those are some of the changes there. And then there's very small changes to this fireplace detail here. And then if we fast forward to the other elevation, it's a little subtle, but you'll see this was the old kind of entry vestibule, and then this wall condition here at the corner, and that's where the parking garage entry is. You'll see that that wall condition is now taller, and then they have a revised, I guess, sort of style of the entry vestibule. So those are the key changes we're talking about, but they have all the regular application materials. And so in review, the downtown design guidelines recommend that downtown's built environment be enhanced and energized with new buildings and improvements to the public realm. Furthermore, they state that downtown is home to the region's most intense development and that larger scale buildings are appropriate, particularly in the core. And lastly, that durable and high quality building materials are recommended. And so this proposal is consistent with those downtown design guidelines. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Would you?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself. That's fine.
Okay, fine, thank you. And then would everyone who is here for the applicant, please identify yourselves.
I'm Beverly Eichenlaw with NBBJ.
Chad Smith with NBBJ, project architect.
And are you folks here as well?
Julie Brownfield with RBHC, owner's rep.
I'm Brian Suter, North Market rep.
Okay, great. Would you, I assume you're all going to testify. Could you all raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. I'll let you folks take it from there.
Material samples as well, so.
Do have some material samples if you'd like to see what.
Yes, I think that'd be good. Great.
Okay. Would you like me to lay those out somewhere or we?
Or you could, how many are there?
There's a box.
Okay.
We
Are they
mainly
large,
brought-
small?
we-
One option is we could just pass them around or put them up here so we can see them at animal grounds.
We only
And
brought.
and that's probably good to do while we're going through the process. And
So thank you, Douglas. I think that was a,
so if you, let's see, do we have a microphone?
It's right in front of me here.
Oh, great. That'd make it, I'm sorry, that'd make it easier for us to hear. Thank you very much.
all right. I just wanted to say, thank you, Belkis.
Is that working there then?
I guess.
I see.
I can.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Belkis. I wanted to just say that was a really thorough description, I think, of the changes that we proposed. As mentioned, the sort of emphasis on the sort of close-up views. We have the overall view for our reference, and this is where you can see the sawtooth changes. Part of this is being driven by the addition of a second floor. So we've basically created more space for the use of the North Market in order to have event space above the space below, which will house vendors. And as part of that process, there's been the introduction of a balcony. And then similarly, we've adjusted the sawtooth skylights really to be in keeping with what the existing market. And again, if you look at the aerial view, you can see how they are now taking their form, similar to the existing markets, monitors.
I'd like to add an overall comment that all of the changes that you're seeing.
See if you could speak up a little bit. We are having just a little bit
Sorry.
of trouble here.
That's okay. I just had a question about the
Yes.
skylight, if that's all right.
Please.
The original one, if I'm reading it right, it looked like the light was coming in from the west. And in the new one, the light will be coming in from the east. And I'm wondering, because of the tower element to the east of the skylight, if you have any concern about the, being able to get that light into the skylight, that that's not obstructing it in any way.
There's a couple reasons for this shift and the change there. Some of it is to minimize some of that afternoon glare coming into the space. The other is that as they're pointed in the west direction, you actually start to see some of the mechanical units and a variety of the other equipment that's on the existing building. Can you hear me?
If you'd use the mic, it'd be better, please.
I've never
Thank
been
you.
accused of being quiet before.
Yeah.
I apologize. Is this better?
That is better.
All right, very good. The, so the views are one part of it, and in all honesty, seeing some of the reflected light off of the brick building was desirable as part of that as well. So while folks are more likely to be in that space in the afternoon, this was thought to be a more appropriate solution in terms of the orientation of those windows.
Okay.
Okay.
The general comment that I wanted to say, and I didn't mean to steal the mic from you, was really these are all subtle changes from where we were previously. And a lot of this is just in refinement of our program. And some of it is cost management over the last year. There are some things that we were just trying to make sure we're consistent across the board with our approvals, and where some of the design changes came in. Again, you'll see the fireplace is one of those, some of the framing on the building and the entry on that residential facade. So these really were driven as natural development, but we wanted to bring them back to you to get those blessed and, part of consistent across the board. Happy to walk through each of those individually, but I wanted to just make that general overall comment, please.
If you want to do it very quickly, that would be good. Thank you. Does anybody see anything they have a question about or they have a problem with? And if you do, speak up while we're doing it. Otherwise, proceed.
So the majority of the changes are on the expansion area here, where we added the second floor. And in that refinement, there's some adjustment to the steel framing. We do have the brick materials that have been passed around. The metal facade is primarily an exposed painted steel, and the corrugated metal behind that. You have a dark brick base below that where there's an offset in the patio. And I can get up and point to areas if you like, or there's also a lighter brick underneath the stair where the transition to the existing building would be. And that would be the lighter stone material that was being passed around.
Great. And
Does this affect access to the North Market then at all in any way?
And improves in some regards. We are replacing the existing stair tower that's there now. Right now you see the sign, we are open, banner that's on it. That stair is being removed as part of the scope of work. That was part of the original scope. And in removing that exit stair, we've shifted it further south and kept it tight to the building. And that's
what we're seeing here.
That's what you're seeing here. That was actually part of the original scenario, again, to be clear. And part of that strategy was to open up that patio and the entrance to the market so that it maintains that visibility from as far away as the convention center.
Okay.
Did we lose the graphic of the
And-
rooster?
I'm sorry, sir?
Did we lose the graphic of the rooster on the?
The
yes.
lose isn't quite right, but yes, we lost it. It's not part of this submittal. All the signage would be part of a separate presentation. We wanted to focus on the architectural elements.
Okay.
I just had a comment about the new stair you've created. I think it looks great and it's wonderful for access. And just when you're detailing it and thinking about the materials, I think it's important that whatever you use there, is very similar in character and you see it as a design element, not just, a utilitarian stair because of its prominence and the character, the beautiful character of the whole project.
And to that end, the railing materials and the steel framing are all in matching of the building facade there. You see the stretchy, I don't know where the materials went. The stretchy expanded metal mesh, that is the guardrail material infill, and that would be the same on the balcony as it wraps down the stair.
So it's that material there, and that what goes over metal panels, is that the idea?
No, it's open. It'll be within a steel frame.
Where do we see that? Under the railings there?
So between the railing and the, where you see folks standing there at the balcony,
Yeah,
it's that infill mesh between the guardrail and their feet.
I see, okay.
And that would be your infill coming down. So we're trying to keep that as light as possible, keep as much visibility out to the, from the balcony out to the north. And then again, keep that stair tower as light and transparent as possible up against the building.
Okay. Other questions, or do you want to review the residential entry side on the east side there?
Yeah, quick comment on the, no, I appreciate the updates, sharing the updates on the development of the design. It makes sense the direction you're going. I do appreciate the material palette as well. I think it's like very rich and warm. I think it's going to create that really vibrant pedestrian experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to make a comment on this, or just we get what we see here? Looks to me like you're accentuating some vertical
There was
the framing material there.
I would chalk this up to simplifying. Largely, the original plan was a very complicated glass facade with a metal mesh, difficult to maintain. We went to a storefront system, which is a steel frame. It's actually a Portela thermally broken steel frame system, which marries up to the detailing at the hotel entry as well. So it's consistent, slightly different scale of materials, so identify a difference between hotel and residential.
I think I like this better.
Good.
I do too, because I think it focuses on that entry canopy you have.
Other questions or comments? Anything else? Yes, go
I
ahead.
guess question, I think that in the previous render, you had like a kind of white portico element I guess that was identifying the entry point, and I guess do you guys feel that that is lost in the next scheme?
Where is
Kind
that?
of
What do you
moves in?
which
Oh.
band along the top? Oh, that.
It's sort of articulated threshold into the vestibule. Or are you talking about the entry threshold?
So we've got, so that's the residential entry, then that's the hotel?
Yes.
That's what it is, okay. So then if you, just looking at the next one, it kind of more like blended it, not that that's a bad thing, I just want to point that out.
The residents will have, the residents have their own entry off of Wall Street, which is an important thing that we want to maintain.
Is that their entrance there?
It is, and they have their own certified entry, or certified address, rather. The threshold that you're commenting on was removed, replaced with more of a, you can't really see it in the rendering, but you can sort of see it in the plan. And if you can go to the next page, there's a re-entrant corner there that sets in to articulate that a little bit more so. And that's planned to be a large overscaled wood door as well. So there will be, the folks will have their own identity for sure coming in, and they'll be, again, we're articulating a little bit different experience for the residents than the hotel, which we're still doing that in a different way.
And that's the main entry for the residents?
Yeah, they're welcome to use the hotel entry. There's a connection there. Or if you're driving in, you can park up in the building as well, and you may not go down to the ground floor. You may go straight to your unit. So there's a couple options.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Any thoughts? Anything from the audience? I assume the two people over on the left are in favor of it, right? What's the pleasure of the group, please? Move to approve. There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Okay, thank you. Motion and a second. Any questions? Any comments?
I love how you opened it up and created a more transparent facade to that north side. Looks really great, you guys.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks so much.
Thank you all for your
Appreciate
time.
you bringing it into us. Okay, next case, please, Bill.
This is for 81 South Fifth Street.
Excuse me, real quick. Let me just make a comment. This is obviously a major project and also hugely visible project. So these are the kinds of things that we really probably need to look at in the commission as opposed to doing a staff approval on. So that's why we ask you folks to come in. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Belkis, I interrupted you.
All right, so 81 South Fifth Street is located at the corner of South Fifth and East Eighth Streets, and was built in 1996. So the structure reports no water infiltration, there was steel plates supporting the existing brick veneer to deteriorate and is missing in some parts. This has had a ripple effect, causing vertical cracks in exterior brick and damage to window weather. The report recommend mitigating any water intrusion, replacement of the steel plates, shoring of the brick veneer prior to removing the existing windows, brick replacement in some locations, and tuck pointing. Given these conditions, the applicant is seeking commission approval to remove the existing brick above the first floor and install new fiber cement panels over top of exterior insulation on the north, south, and east elevations. The brick to remain at the first floor will be patched and tuck pointed. The existing SAMU wall on the west elevation will be waterproofed and painted. Submitted materials include existing context images, site plan elevations, material details, and structure reports from October 10th of 2023 and October 19th of 2023. And we just pop over here. So these are, what the building looks like currently, just existing context photos. And then further on, you see your site plan. And then this is some elevations of what's to be proposed. So you can see the changes with that new material. And then you have material details, and then at the end are the structure reports from those two dates, noting the condition of the site. And after review, the downtown design guidelines recommend durable, high-quality materials, that traditional masonry materials are appropriate, and that existing older storefronts be repaired and maintained. The proposal is generally inconsistent with the downtown design guidelines. For further consistency with building material guidelines, staff recommends that the applicant repair and/or replace the existing brick like for like to maintain the use of the traditional masonry. Thank you.
Okay, could you folks identify yourselves for the record, please?
Christopher Jolly of Darren Ranker Architects.
I'm Jennifer Martinez with Volunteers of America.
Yeah, would you folks raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And so say, I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead. We'll let you have the floor then.
So the VOA acquired this building about a year or so ago, and set to convert this building for a rehabilitation facility for primarily women, for substance abuse, things like that. And so we've started the interior demolition and work, and as that was proceeding, it was discovered that there was some concerns with the way the lintels were appearing from the inside of the building. So had the structural report done, investigated further, and determined, and you can visually see it really, but a lot of the lintels are completely rusted away, failing, and we've removed some brick in other spots just to see a little bit further, and they're gone in basically a lot of different areas. Some areas has some integrity, but it really does need to be replaced, and as part of that, you would need to obviously remove portions of the brick to do that. And then there's a whole lot of shoring that would need to happen in order to try to preserve any sort of brick that remains. There's also a lot of concerns, speaking with the contractor that would do the shoring, as to the integrity of the brick that does remain. They've done projects in the past where they've started to remove things and then the wall, just started to come down. So there's concerns with the type of damage you're seeing here that that's a possible, outcome. So the other piece to that is all the shoring. The cost of that essentially is the cost of doing this new facade that we're proposing. And that's just the shoring aspect of it, not really getting into the repairs. And part of what happened here, I think previous ownership just didn't properly maintain the brickwork and the windows and the seals around them. So it's, over 60, 70 years, it's just gotten to this point. And you can see the cracking throughout and the shifting of the brickwork. We are looking to try to maintain some of that existing masonry on the first floor where it's supported, by the foundation of the building. It's not relying upon the lintel to do that work. And we feel that's also generally consistent with some other proposals. You'll see a lot of times, masonry base and other materials on the upper levels. There's a building at Caddy Corner across the street that has a masonry lower level, this fiber cement upper portion of the building. Apologies. Other buildings nearby, this is 330 Oak. I mean, it's a metal, but there are the fiber cement inset in the balconies. AC Hotel, again, I think these were existing structures, but they're remaining, but then there's new fiber cement panels as the addition on the back there. So I think while I understand wanting to maintain the masonry and the integrity there, I think poses quite a challenge here, but it's also not inconsistent with other things that have been approved in the past with downtown. And as an example, I think a lot of these potentially are using a hardy board material. This is fiber cement. We're proposing Nichiha, which we can pass it around. You can see it's a twice as thick material. So it's a much more durable, more commercial grade material. It's been tested. It meets Miami-Dade standards for hurricane impact resistant testing, all of that. So it has really high durability. And then the windows are obviously to do this work. The windows need to come out. Lintels were going to come out regardless. To get rid of that corroded material, and then also be able to repair, just do some touch up to the existing beams that are in there as well. And so new windows, there's some that were damaged during demolition, but also as part of their use, these are operable windows. So coming back in with fixed windows is kind of a safety piece as well. And all of this work is also something that wasn't anticipated when they started the project. So this is a large additional expense for them that was not originally planned.
I'm sorry, what is the large additional expense? The whole thing?
The whole facade work, yeah, because they went into the building not planning to have to really do anything to the facade.
So here you're showing what you were proposing.
Correct.
And this is the color gray.
Correct.
That you're proposing. And then the window is tinted gray glazing.
Yes.
Do you put new window frames in? Is that the idea?
Yeah,
The lintels are no good, so those come out. Do you?
Yeah, all new, thermally broken aluminum windows.
And structurally, what do you do then? Do you put lintels back in, or?
If with this proposal, we would not need new lintels. So there's existing steel that's there, but there's a steel plate on the underside that's welded, and that's what's corroded and gone. And with this proposal, those would just come out, and then those existing steel beams, which are part of the bracing for the structure of the building as a whole, would just be cleaned up because they just have minimal surface.
So what do you attach what do you use to hold the window systems up for 4 floors, 3 floors, whatever it is?
They'd be attached to those existing steel beams.
Okay.
And then there's behind the brickwork is 4-inch masonry that would remain as well. So that would support them at the bottom.
The masonry, the backup for the brick is lithium here?
Yes.
And does it have lintels? How does it hold the sections up over the windows?
It's sitting on top of the CME or the beams, the steel beams.
And that's intact then?
Correct.
So that beam is not the lintel?
The beam is is part of it. When we say the word lintel, we're really talking about the steel plate on the underside. That's what's corroded and gone, and that's what's supporting all of the brick.
Well, so what you're saying is the plate, the portion of the plate that holds up the brick veneer is gone, is
Yeah.
not, okay, functional, but the portion of the plate that holds up the 4-inch block behind the veneer is intact?
So the plate does not hold the 4-inch veneer at all. It's steel beam. That is, as you can see in this detail, the beam is, the CMU is sitting on top of the beam, and then the brick is out forward of that. And it's
Oh,
a
so
steel
there's a
plate.
beam up in the window openings
Yes.
that'll hold up the concrete block? I
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the detail for the fiber cement does not require,
What's your attachment mechanism then
For the cement.
for the new proposed?
Yes, it uses, it's all part of the system. It's like these Z clips that would fasten to the masonry, and then they're all just kind of clipped on there with the panels. And then we'd be able to put insulation around the outside as well, so be able to weatherproof the CMU, put exterior insulation around the entire envelope of the building to provide a better performing envelope than just the brick, and then the fiber cement panels over top of that.
So the new insulation goes on the inside of the concrete block or on the outside?
The outside.
Over which goes this panel material?
Correct.
That makes up the thickness of the brick.
Correct.
And what's the, show us the first floor, I'm not sure I'm understanding, what is on the first floor? When I've seen some of the pictures, it looks like a dark color material. Do you have a photo of it?
Yeah, there's
There we go.
a storefront.
Okay, well, what is that material?
That's going to remain. It's a painted, it was already painted. I believe it's may have been a type of limestone or something along those meat. It feels like a type of
Painted
stone.
limestone.
It's already been painted, so we were just going to kind of maintain that.
Okay, what's the thought on this, guys? This is an interesting thing here. It's a shame
I think it's a really nice mid-century modern building. I hate to see it change so much, but I also didn't realize it was in such bad condition.
when you were exploring materials, did you look at other, I'm assuming that cost and maintenance and durability are your driving factors for
Yes.
choosing this? And had you looked at other materials too? I don't know if this would even make sense, but materials like CMU products that might look a little more like brick, if those look well, I'm not really sure if they would. I'm just wondering, when you looked at all of these, keeping the cost in what you feel comfortable with, were there other options as well? And after exploring them, you settled on this, or did you just, first gravitate to this option?
No, yeah, it's, initially, I think from a cost perspective, we're looking at EFS, which I know is kind of more frowned upon. That would have been a little bit more cost effective than this option. And we looked at, potentially there are panelized like brick systems. Those are more expensive than this option, but they also tend to just look a little more like panelized brick. I don't think I feel like you want to be a little more honest to the material. So I feel like if you're not doing brick, not to make it imitate brick, it's kind of what I feel.
So replacing with brick would be too expensive, you feel?
Yeah, it would be a significant
And
cost.
even the ones that are I think there's some that are.
A thin brick.
Thin brick.
well, but yeah,
Yeah. My thought is that, and this is just thinking out loud here, I appreciate very much that you're keeping the brick on the first level, but I feel that aesthetically, it would be better to have something, whether it's that brick or maybe new brick or something that would go up at to two levels to really create more of a base or a contrast. I feel that's kind of awkward, where it stops. And that's just my feeling about it, where, actually it was very funny because when you showed the examples of some of the other buildings, they also went up to, I was thinking, aesthetically, maybe two levels, and some of those showed two levels because I just think there's more balance there.
But Janet, this building has a strong horizontal line at that overhang
That's true.
and different glazing on the first floor. I think what they're doing, as much as I don't really like it, I think it respects the ribbon windows of the 50s.
Okay, that's a good.
Mid-century modern building.
I mean, that's a good point. When I look at the massing, I feel that way, but when I'm looking at the details and thinking about that horizontal canopy, that is a good point. And then also.
Does this material come in any darker colors?
There's I think almost like a closer to kind of a steel gray. I think in there's a brochure has, I think, the 3 standard colors in there if you flip through the product.
That's what I'm the color.
Tinted glass.
Like I get the whole problem of the issue, but the color to me is like bumming me out.
Yeah.
If it was darker, if it was more rich, if it kind of like resembles sort of like what we see today as the existing condition with the brick and having something of a darker tone, maybe it make me feel better about
I
it.
think that would help.
Can you show us
There's a color here. It's called steel. It's a darker tone.
Could you pass that around for us,
Yeah.
please?
I just have to say, I appreciate what you're doing, given and understanding what the cost efficiencies are as far as renovating the building. And I think you've done what you can, understanding your constraints. Because the building is about people. I understand the aesthetics that we're trying to keep within the downtown, but we also need to understand that there is a need from a human capital standpoint. And so it's really the balance of helping people as well as assisting with the aesthetics of downtown.
Which
is the one you're looking at on this?
This was the one.
The gray is the
Oh,
material.
Mocha?
It's gray, and
This
then
gray is what
Oh.
they selected.
I mean, gray. Oh, okay.
but the steel is another
Down here.
another
It's just a
exception.
different material. This is called architectural block on the 3 top ones and then tough block below. Is that something?
It's essentially the same product. They just kind of categorize it based on the colors. I think they're
And show us what the window systems are again, if you would, please. I don't know.
The proposed window?
Yes, please. Oh, is that it right there then?
But the configuration is essentially
the same.
there, right?
Yeah.
The ribbon windows.
Yeah, the ribbon windows.
The ribbon
I
window,
I
that
think
could
it's
be
gonna look,
enhanced.
I think it's gonna look like a 50s style building. In a way, there's, something, I guess you could try to put the brick back if you could try to match what the brick was, but,
This is
I-
like, right?
yeah.
This is- You're saying you don't have to support this at each level,
Correct.
supported by the clips of
Yeah.
the 4-inch block,
Correct.
and the 4-inch block is adequate.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think overall the proposal
Okay.
makes sense with, proposing this type of material. We're gonna see stuff like this happen more and more with the reuse and repurpose of existing structures. I think further exploration of the color and texture of the panel, I think would be great to see. I think the ribbon window effect could be enhanced if maybe it wasn't the dark bronze, maybe it was something that matched the mullion color that's proposed. I don't know, I think maybe a bit of the existing is kind of lost with the proposed ribbon window band.
I don't think the dark.
Do you not like the bronze in between the?
Dark bronze, yeah. Well, what's the pleasure of the group? By the way, is that? I assume that the windows, I see the windows on the south side. What's missing are those vertical, heavy dividers between the window sections there on the south or the north side, I guess, of the building. Lower left-hand elevation there, that. Yeah, okay. What's the pleasure of the group here? What's everybody thinking about?
Well, my feeling is to explore another color, perhaps the mocha or something else, and work up some studies to see what you think, and then maybe think about the tinted glass. Like right now, you're using the gray tinted glass, and I don't, there's probably a good reason for that, but maybe look at a clearer glass, or I don't know, different combinations to see how to get the best effect. Because I do agree that if you can make it a little richer or give it some more character, using that material, it would go a long way. And if there's also different textures you can choose from as well, that might be helpful. And in thinking about it and looking not at the elevation, but looking at the photograph, I definitely see the point about not going up those two levels with a different material and keeping it all on one level. And I was mistaken about that. So I think your instincts are really good.
Tell us about the canopy. What is the canopy? Are you intending to leave the canopy that's there?
Yeah, it would be.
Is that metal clad or?
It's got like I think it might be a Galvalume fascia on it. We'd be just putting a new roof on it, and the underside of the canopy is just a little bit of damage just from some water, I think, coming through that roof membrane. So just repairing all of that.
I think you bring a lot to this deal if you make that first floor street level look good. And I'm not, tell us what your thoughts are on that. Because I'm looking at that and I'm trying to think, what do we transition to in your plan? Is that new storefront then?
That's the existing storefront.
So in your plan, you're proposing to just leave the existing storefront system?
Yeah, maintain what's there
today. And then to the right, is that supposed to be the existing brick? Sometimes the elevation drawings are a little difficult to read.
Yeah, that's the existing brick.
Do you have any pictures, renderings of the, I walk by this building almost every day, but the first floor, what that lobby area would have you look like? Because it's right now we look at the site, it's gonna see through. And before it was some type of studio, some type of.
So is that gonna look, and is that gonna look like that? I mean, you're gonna leave lighting that's there, or are you gonna leave the painted limestone or whatever that thing is there? I mean, are you gonna change that at all?
Just,
and those look like aluminum storefront, units there.
Yes, yeah, I believe they're original to the building.
You leave those then?
Yes, yeah. And just repainting what's already painted down there, with the same paint color. I think we said iron ore, I think that's what it was. Iron ore that we were proposing on the side of the CMU. So bring that same color
around. Color, iron ore?
Yeah, paint color, yeah. And
essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just keeping the lighting, but replacing it with new LED.
And can we see to the right-hand side of this, where we see the first floor, there we go. So that'll stay.
That awning thing goes away, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's already down.
And then and what replaces it? Is there anything under there? Is that just?
No, just maintaining that historical integrity of that existing.
So you're going to have to replace the front edge of the canopy as it goes further to the north there, right?
With the same material profile.
And will that then provide a cover for the entry door there?
Yeah, it currently extends underneath that fabric awning. You can't really tell in the photo, but
the viewer walking down the street, what will they see in those windows? I mean, what's inside that meeting area?
So there'll be along the main storefront, there'll be a reception desk in there. And they'll have a wall inside there that'll have the VOA on the inside of the logo wall. So you can see there's a floor plan there. So
and that will remain clear glass?
Yes.
Are you proposing tinted glass then on the upper floors?
Upper floors, one for privacy, but two also to meet energy code performance. So
using OE glass or is it actually tinted colored glass?
Yeah, it's low E, but also has a gray tint to it. I mean, there's other options, but that's what we're going with due to the color selection.
And you would not want to use clear glass then? Is there a reason for that?
Well, it's tough to make the energy performance. with the clear.
Huh. I'm surprised by that because you've got the fairly small window units and if you use a low E system, I mean, I don't know, there are architects here, so I would defer to them, but,
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I guess each system you look at and the color and the tint is rated, so you can check and see. But I don't know, like with the gray tint and what you were proposing, the gray, I don't know if there was enough, I don't know how that looked together and if there was enough contrast with that. Or if maybe there were other options that can work better.
we have tended to prefer to see, clear glass. And I mean, is there a problem or a reason not? Like you mentioned the energy code. But again, I don't know what your calculations are, but that strikes me.
You're adding insulation you didn't have before.
Yeah,
Correct.
plus look, those are small window systems overall. I mean, we see buildings with much larger window areas than that, I think. But, what do we want to do with this? It seems to me that we've got some open questions on this a little bit.
What's your schedule look like?
Immediate, basically. I mean,
Why are all these windows are torn out and all this stuff? I'm surprised we're seeing
It's
this.
a permit to start the project.
Yeah.
Coming to us.
well, so as I mentioned, I think at the beginning there, it wasn't intended to do any exterior work. It just, as they did all the interior demo and they seeing the condition of those lintels from the inside was a concern. So they took out some of the windows to look at it further to see really what's happening. There was a few that were damaged during demolition as well. So there wasn't any exterior work initially proposed, but now that they're well into construction, it's has become a big concern.
So it seems to be that we're heading towards being okay with this project. But we have questions about kind of the final decisions, colors.
Let's call it details.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if,
That's where I am on this.
does it hurt you if you come back next month with answers to some of these questions?
I think that we would be okay as long as you can agree that you're okay with the brick coming down, because that would allow construction to move forward independent of the final color and all that. Just because to keep things moving, they're trying to get windows put in to weather tight it and all that. Makes a difference.
What's everybody's thought on that? Are we, any thought on that? Are the brick goes away and can live with this?
This is staff, so we would need the whole proposal to be approved at one time. I can't issue a partial COA.
That's not what we're proposing.
Okay.
I think what I'm gonna try to do here is I'm gonna try to get what we would like to see from these folks, and then they can come back with that.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go down that road of partial. So I think what we're hearing from this group is we can live with we're gonna be able to live with it, and I'm putting myself in that camp. Trudy's there, I think. We can live with that. We're talking about maybe looking carefully at the color thing there. I want to see what happens. I want to see the details on, I think my view on this is you could transform this into pretty good, and somebody used the word adaptive reuse or whatever. That's kind of an effect with what we're talking about. We're going to tweak this building here, but we're still going to have some of the character of the 50s thing, this kind of thing. So if you guys can bring that through, and that first floor is going to be important for me. That means the canopy, it means entry doors, which you're going to do with the entries. And it means that section of the wall on the first floor to the north there. And I'm not trying to speak for the group, so anybody else can do. Let's think about the windows and the glass. I mean, whether we really need tinted glass or whether can do clear glass. And that's kind of where we are. It's not a lot of stuff.
Sure.
But if you can bring that back, I think, am I hearing we're probably going to be in a position to say, let's go forward.
I think we'd like to see the colors.
Yeah.
Maybe some more photographs of the first floor so we can understand a little bit better what you're doing or not doing there.
With the black, I think you said it was some type of, I don't remember what you said that material was, but it was painted black. And when you paint that black again, is that going to look very dark and monolithic because now it, you know, it has some type of variation because it's aged. So I'm just wondering what that effect will be and if that's a flat or semi-gloss or what does that end product look like? And maybe that's something also to understand and.
Are you talking about the first floor?
The first floor, yeah, like what exactly when that's.
So you'll have that resolved for us then? Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, is it all right if we table this then?
Yeah.
And I do want to note too, since we're meeting a little bit earlier in the month because of the holidays, it's only 3 weeks from now versus 4 weeks, so.
But they might actually like that, because
So
they can get an
that's
answer.
what we're saying.
Yeah. Be quite as long.
Okay, we're not trying to burden you, but I think we need to have these details kind of put together.
Sure.
And then I think if you do that, I think you're gonna get an answer that works for you. Does that make sense to everybody?
I moved the table.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
I'm gonna say all those in favor?
I
Okay, it's tabled. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay,
think
thank you.
this is gonna be a good project.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you. And we certainly understand dealing with, I'm astounded seeing those pictures there. It's pretty.
I have to.
Fall down.
I've
It's a
always
learning,
driven
yeah.
by that building.
Yeah,
I know there was an architect that had an office in that years ago. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I've been in that, we're a real estate company there too.
I don't think it looked like that then.
Okay, so we have, anything else we need to look at today?
Just approval of, so approving the staff
Staff.
approved items into.
Okay, could we have a motion to do that, please?
So
Thank you, and is there a second? Second. Very good. Okay, any questions or comments for anything that we've got here? Over Belfast, okay?
we have,
All those in favor?
uh,
Yeah, can we, hang on, let's just get this off the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those are approved.
sorry, yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So we have the Metropolitan Club
Yes,
luncheon, this month.
Yes.
And, Carson Smith Award. So we should all be there.
And it's in a new venue. I know that.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, they moved,
Location
yeah.
of
Where?
Ellis. The Ellis, it's just south of Fox in the Snow on, 4th Street.
Oh, it's still on
In
the
Italian
Audubon.
Village. Sorry?
Oh.
Not Audubon, Confluence.
Correct, it's
Oh, is that right?
Italian Village.
No, it was
just south
Audubon.
of Fox in the Snow.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the confluence and there was the Audubon. It was temporary because the confluence
Do
got
we,
flooded.
do we have to
Oh, I
buy our
didn't
own
know.
ticket?
Yes,
Okay.
that was detailed. in
Well, I
the
would say to
email.
everybody that wants to go, it's a much smaller venue interiorly. And it's starting to sell out, like the one this week
So we should
is selling, this one this week is sold out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's small.
And then usually they reserve a table for.
Yes, I did send an email detailing all of that.
If you just put on there, they'll say any specific table thing, you can just put down, I've just put downtown commission.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, so, and what's that date on that? Do you remember?
The
13th.
13th of December.
Okay, great.
And I can resend the email
Do it.
to everyone. It has the
Please.
link and what to know.
Sure. Okay,
Address.
great. Any other business?
I just want to highlight again, we're meeting Tuesday, December 19th. We're not meeting Tuesday, the 25th of December. So, just note that. Okay. So it's 3 weeks from now, 9/4. So be here on the 19th. Yes.
Got it.
Okay, good. Anything else
We'll have
for
at least one
anybody?
case.
Any comments, questions? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess I have to